Super quick E30 update. Big thing you notice, I've taken out the pulley and the belt to go to the second motor. Couple reasons for this. One, I found the top pulley was actually loosening up and causing a rattle. It took me a bit to diagnose it. I thought it was perhaps coming from the clutch or the flywheel. I was really worried about that. Took it off and I could have just reset it, but the problem is the clutch that I've got in here can't handle the torque of even one motor. I've got that GE 11-inch turned down to only 800 or 850 amps instead of the 1,000 amps that the Soliton can put out. And even with that, when I really get on it, I can hear the clutch just slipping a little bit. So I can't use the torque from that. I would like to get the regen. That was half the idea. For that, I'd have to wire up the Azerdynamics, that DMOC 445. Honestly, it's going to be a while before I even get around to that. And I don't know when I'll actually get around to it. There's just too many other projects. So really, this is just a dead weight. And so I'm going to be taking the top motor out. Going to keep it, going to hold on to it. Who knows, maybe years from now I will put it back on. But for right now, it's just 100 pounds of dead weight between the controller and the motor. So it'll come out. I'll just leave the plate there, and that'll reduce a lot of weight up high, helping with the CG and get a little bit of weight off the front wheels. One thing I do want to show up, show them other videos or not, but I did put new springs in the rear. I got some H&R race springs, much higher spring rate. It's like 3 or 4 times. I think it's like a 450 pounds per inch. And so that stiffened up the rear quite a bit, which is necessary for the rear batteries. The front, because this is already lighter up front, even with that second motor, there's less weight up here. I was kind of having a old school dragster rake to it. So I did cut off a coil, lowered it down. Now I've got matching heights forward and back. It's actually, I went a little bit more on the front than I wanted, but when I take the weight of that motor out, it'll come back and be pretty much right at it. So that's the update. And you can see, you can't see, but new shocks and struts all the way around it while I was at the springs, and I've also replaced a few of the bushings. I mean, it's over a 250,000 mile car. It was due for a refresh. So there's some bushings I still need to replace on the rear, and I probably need to replace the drive shaft and the guibo at some point. But I'm trying to remember if I did that when I did the build originally. That was years ago. But I need to get it up in the air and take a look at it, because I do get a little bit of a vibration at 60 miles an hour, and that's usually the most common cause. Anyway, that is the 3-minute and 20-second update on the E30. Other than that, still driving great, and been driving it to work. It's my summer commuter car.